Welcome to Module 13, Lesson 7. Our I can statement reads, I can use the relationship between known angles to find the measures of unknown angles. So in the last lesson, we were using joining and separating to find those missing angles. We're going to continue using methods like that to help us find unknown angles. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our first problem. A laptop screen size is usually measured by the length of its diagonal, which is the distance between its opposite corners. All right, so first we need to look at the angles formed by the diagonal. Find angle ABC. Okay, so here's angle ABC. What do we know about angle ABC? Well, what do you notice right away about that angle? I notice an angle marker right here. And that angle marker is showing me something. I also notice that this angle has two angles that make it up, right? So I might say it has two parts and it is a right angle. You might have noticed some other things, but I can see it's split into two parts, but I can also see it as a right angle. All right, we need to circle all the angle measures that are known. We have measure of angle ABC. Well, do we know that? We do, right? We already noticed it was a right angle. We know how much a right angle measures. Then we have angle ABD. Well, that has a given measure, right? Angle ABD says it's 61 degrees. And then we have angle DBC. Right now it's given us that as X degrees. So do we know the measure? We don't. So we're going to put a line under the one we don't know. All right, so letter C asks us what kind of angle is ABC. We've already answered that. We know it's a right angle. But let's go ahead and say what that's equal to, which is 90 degrees. What are two ways that we can find the measure of DBC? Well, one way is we can use a protractor, right? But we can also solve this without using a protractor, right? Because we know that angle ABC is equal to the sum of angle ABD and angle DBC. So if we know that we can find angle DBC, which is our missing, by using our inverse operation. So we know angle DBC will be equal to angle ABC minus angle ABD. So let's go ahead and fill in our missing pieces. We know angle DBC is equal to ABC, which is 90 degrees, minus angle ABD, which is 61 degrees. So go ahead and solve. What is angle DBC equal to? Angle DBC is equal to 29 degrees. Okay, so we could also solve using an equation. So we're using our knowledge of separating angles, right? Angle ABC is separated into two parts. So we know those two parts will add together to equal the whole. Okay, let's look at our next problem. A tile setter wants to cut another piece off a tile. They need to know the measure of the unknown angle labeled X to determine the cut. First, we need to estimate what the unknown measure is. Well, angle X looks a little bit like a 90-degree angle, but if you turn it, it actually looks just slightly larger, right? If I were to draw a 90-degree angle here, it would look kind of like that. So if we're estimating, it looks a little bigger than a 90-degree angle. So I might say greater than 90 degrees. But we know it's not going to be that much greater. So I might say a little greater than 90 degrees. All right, what information do I know? Well, it doesn't give us a name for this angle here. I'm going to go ahead and label it Z for now. Okay, so I know the angle Z equals 120 degrees. And I know the angle X plus that angle Z will give me this green angle of 125. Or sorry, 225 degrees. So how can I use that information to solve for the unknown measure of X? Well, I can write my inverse operation, right, of 225 minus angle Z will give me angle X. I know that angle Z is equal to 120 degrees. Therefore, angle X must be equal to 105 degrees. Oops, I wrote that a little too early. So write an equation to model the value of X. We have our 225 degrees minus our 120 degrees will give us the measure of 105 degrees. So then we need to answer, is our answer reasonable, and how do we know? Well, we said it was going to be greater than 90, so it is reasonable. So we can say, yes, it is reasonable. Because it is close to our estimate. Right? We knew looking at it, it wasn't going to be this very large reflex angle. It wasn't going to be a straight angle. We knew it was going to be somewhere in that obtuse angle, and it is at 105. All right, so now how would I find the measure of angle Y? How would I do that? Well, if I know that this green angle, I'm going to relabel this angle A. If angle A is equal to 225 degrees, what could you tell me about angle A plus angle Y? What does that form? So it forms a circle here, right? So if I add these two, I'm going to get an angle measure of 360 degrees. So if angle A is equal to 225 degrees plus angle Y will give me 360 degrees. If I write my inverse operation, I can solve for angle Y. Go ahead and solve for the measure of angle Y. Okay. You should have found that angle Y was equal to 135 degrees. All right, go ahead and pause the video and complete the check understanding. Press play to check your work. So number 1 asked us what kind of angle is angle AED. AED is a straight angle. So we know that this angle measure here will be 180 degrees. That gave us a hint as to how to find the measure of angle AEC. I know that if I add AEC and CED, I will get 180 degrees. Now I know that this angle CED was equal to 45. So I went ahead and wrote an inverse operation of 180 minus 45 was equal to the angle measure of AEC. I found that AEC was equal to 135 degrees.